That man needed help. He over here pulling out his teeth. He over here jumping onto basically a nail bed. And he over here pretending to be cops to lure kids by the age of 20 years old. What's good? It's your girl T, aka Pariah Prince, and all the other AKAs. What's up, Pariah babes? Okay, y'all. So today's video is another urban storytelling, and yeah. So my last storytelling was about a young lady who ended up killing her parents while they were in the bed. Yeah, it wasn't really much to that story because again the story is ongoing. But if y'all want the short version, I guess, the beginning steps from us following this story, y'all can go check out my last video. Of course, guys, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, y'all, so y'all know when I got my friend, the story is about to begin. Okay, y'all, so this story, like I said, is longer. This is a longer story. And yeah, we just gonna dive right into it. Okay, so boom. Back in the day, there was this young boy. We gonna call him Tyreek Sanders. He was born to Derek and Keisha Sanders on April 18th, 1965. That's the Aries, ain't it? My nigga was an Aries. Okay, boom. So he was born in Merced, California. He had 3 sisters and 1 brother. We gonna call the brother Corey. Okay, the Sanders family was living their normal life until December 4th, 1972, when 7-year-old Tyreek's world flipped upside down. Okay, boom. So that afternoon, Tyreek was walking home from school when a stranger, we're gonna call him Mr. Vernon Morris, he pulled up on him. Okay, so Vernon had told him that he was with the church and he was looking for some money, some donations or whatnot. So Tyreek mentioned that his mama might be able to help. And when the man had asked Tyreek where he lived at, Tyreek had told him. That's when a white Buick pulled up, and Vernon had told Tyreek to hop in the car, and Tyreek got in that car. That's why you should teach your kids stranger danger, church or not, stranger danger. Boom, like that. Tyreek gone. Tyreek was taken to a secluded cabin in Catheys Valley, not far from where his granddaddy lived. So Vernon wasn't working alone. He was just bait. The real mastermind was Kenneth Lamar Parks. He was a troubled ex-con who had been in and out of the system for years. Kenneth had a twisted mind and a long rap sheet starting from when he was just a kid. As early as 4 years old, he was already showing signs of violence and self-harm. He once tried to pull out his own teeth. This man tried to pull out his own teeth. His pearly white. He tried to pull out his own teeth. Why y'all didn't get that baby the help he needed right then and there? What is wrong with y'all? The man tried to pull out his own teeth. All right. Yeah. Another time, he jumped onto a nail-ridden plank, and by the age of 21, he was already impersonating cops to lure kids. This sounded like that man needed help. Like, I get it. Every criminal villain has their origin story. But that's a cry for help. Why didn't y'all help that man before it got this far to taking Tyreek life? Not life, but taking that boy Tyreek. Why did y'all wait? That man needed help. He over here pulling out his teeth. He over here jumping onto basically a nail bed. And he over here pretending to be cops to lure kids by the age of 20 years old. And y'all didn't help that throwing that man in the system. Some people don't need the system. Some people need psychological help. Y'all should have helped that man. Come on now. Yeah, okay. So Kenneth met Vermin while working at a resort in Yosemite National Park, I think that says. Kenneth was a night janitor, the kind of job where you could lurk unnoticed, basically. Lurk and lure people unnoticed. He convinced Vermin to help him abduct the child so he could raise the boy in some twisted, made-up religious way. The first night, Kenneth did the unthinkable to Tariq, and it wouldn't stop. Kenneth brainwashed the boy, telling him his parents had given him up, that they didn't want him no more. Over time, he gave Tariq a new name, Dennis Lamar Parks. He enrolled him in different schools, moved town to town, and let him roam around enough to seem normal. Tariq could have escaped, he said so himself, but he didn't know how to get help. He was just a scared, broken kid who thought his parents had gave him up. Okay. There was one woman, we're going to call her Brenda Mallow. She lived with Kenneth and Tariq over a year in Santa Rosa. She later claimed she had no idea what was going on, but when Kenneth tried to get her to help him adopt another child, her ignorance seemed real suspect. Okay. By 1980, Tariq was 14 and Kenneth had lost interest in him. He's still a child. All right. So he decided it was time to get a younger boy. Oh. He even tried using Tariq to help lure new victims, but Tariq purposely sabotaged the attempts, as he should. Yup. Then in February of 1980, Kenneth succeeded with the help of another guy, Raymond Pruitt. They adopted a 5-year-old boy named Tyrell White. On March 1st, 1980, Kenneth went to work his night job, and Tariq decided he was done. He grabbed Tyrell and hitchhiked to the nearest town. They couldn't find Tyrell's house, so Tariq walked into the police station and said the line that would make headlines. I know my first name is Tariq. That line became the title of a book, a movie, and a legacy. The next day, Kenneth was arrested. He was only charged with kidnapping and sentenced to 7 years. He only served 5. That's it. Because of technicalities and the statute of limitations, he was never charged with what he did to Tariq. So my boy Tariq never got justice. After being kidnapped, basically brainwashed, was told that my parents just didn't, they gave me up. They didn't want me anymore. After all this, I never got the justice I deserved. That's pretty messed up. Like, yeah. Tariq was brought back home, but it wasn't the reunion people might have imagined. His family struggled to reconnect. His father, Derek, refused to hug him. His peers bullied him about what happened, and he ended up dropping out of school. That's tough. That's really tough. He couldn't help what had happened to him. That's tough. Eventually, he got married to a girl. We're going to call her Jasmine Ellis. And they had 2 kids, Tariq Jr. and Ariel. He tried to live a quiet life, work at a pizza shop, volunteering with missing children groups. But by September 16th, 1989, tragedy struck again. Tariq died in a motorcycle accident. His story was put in a film and a book, and eventually in a statue of Merced, showing him holding Tyrell's hand, leading him to freedom. But that's not where the story ends. Tariq's older brother, Corey. He was 11 when Tariq went missing, and while the world celebrated Tariq's return, Corey had felt forgotten, pushed into the shadows. Corey had dreams too. He was creative, low-key, even voted most artistic in his high school. But that attention Tariq got messed with him. So I see that a lot with not even older kids for real. Older kids you don't really see that much with, but definitely for middle children, I see a lot of cases and a lot of times that they feel like they're just there, like they're invisible. The youngest gets all the attention and the oldest gets praised or like seem like on a friendship level because they are the oldest, or it seems like they are they get paid attention to more, and the middle child is just kind of the forgotten child. I've seen that. So to see that with Corey's older brother, that's interesting. Well, I'm not sure where Corey was in the lineup of siblings, but if he was a middle child, that's understandable because you know it was said that Tariq had 3 other sisters. So depending on where he was in the lineup, that could have also played a big part in it. Yeah. Their father was emotionally checked out and Corey struggled. By 1999, Corey snapped. He had become a handyman at a lodge near Yosemite. I think that's how you say it. Yosemite. That year, 3 women, Carla Sims, her daughter Jasmine Sims, and Jasmine's friend Sophie went missing. Weeks later, their charred car was found with 2 bodies in the trunk. A letter and hand-drawn map led investigators to the 3rd body. For a while, police thought it was a group of ex-cons, but then 5 months later, a park ranger named Joelle Armstrong went missing as well. Her body was found decapitated. That's when the pieces came together. Corey's car had been spotted near Joelle's place. When the FBI questioned him over pizza, no less, he confessed. Corey ended up confessing to it. He admitted to all 4 murders, but not before trying to negotiate. Y'all, I read this next line, but when I say this next line, what the fuck? Y'all, this has a lot going on. This is, yeah, he wanted to negotiate. So he tried to negotiate for pictures of young girls, a prison close to his family, and reward money. He wanted to pick the photos himself. Turns out Corey had been abused too. Their uncle Jess molested him after Tariq ended up disappearing. And their father as well. So the older brother Corey ended up being molested by not only his uncle after Tariq disappeared, but also his father. And to pause the story, that makes me feel like they were molesting Tariq, because if that was happening to Tariq and then all of a sudden a car comes up and they're like, oh yeah, your parents sold you, that is so disheartening. And it's like, yeah, like it's like you're leaving a bad situation for a worse situation. Rest in peace, Tariq. We may never know, you know what I'm saying, what exactly happened to him. But if that was the case, then you're leaving a bad situation for a worse situation. And I would have believed if somebody said my parents had sold me too after that. Like, that's heartbreaking. And the father and the uncle started molesting the older brother Corey? Were the father and the uncle molesting Tyreek as well? Because they said they did it after he left. So my mind thinks like you wasn't in that before. So after Tyreek went missing, that's when you started doing that? So was y'all doing that to Tyreek first, and then once Tyreek went missing, you started doing that to Corey, and then when Tyreek became back, all the attention, all the praise, all the "you're back" went to Tyreek. But at the same time, we read that Tyreek dad was having trouble adjusting to him being back, wasn't hugging him, you know, wasn't doing those things. So it's just a lot of pieces to put together right there. It's very interesting, to say the least. It's very interesting to, you know, see that. I feel like definitely more pieces of the story need to be put together right there. Yeah. Derek had allegedly abused their sisters as well. So this family, look, reading is fundamental next line. So yeah. So it was, he left a bad situation for a worse situation just to go back to a bad situation. That's what that sounded like. And that's really heartbreaking. That's messed up, honestly. Yeah, the trauma ran deep in this family, man. That's all I can really say. It ran deep. Like, that's a lot to take in. So yeah, there it is. One brother survived the unthinkable, tried to build something good. The other let his pain grow until it turned deadly. Two paths, one family, one story you definitely won't forget. Yeah, guys, that story was something. Like, it was literally something. The father was abusing the whole family. The uncle abused both of the brothers. Seemed like, that's my guessing. It only says that he abused Corey, but I'm guessing he also abused Tyreek as well, which is why Tyreek believed in it. But I feel like Tyreek was very strong-minded, and the person, what was it, Vermin, I think I named him Vermin, and them, they didn't break his spirit, you know what I'm saying? Like, he went along with it for a while, but he was trying to, you know, do it to other boys, and he was foiling the attempts on purpose so the boys could get away. So he saved lives within that while his life was crumbling down. He was with this man who kidnapped him, was thinking his people didn't love him and all this, you know what I'm saying? So that, you got to be really strong to do that. And then at the end, you save the last little boy who he got, and you get them away. You get them away from him, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, you're able to just go on, even though you can never truly let it go, but then your life ends tragically in an accident, and you didn't even get the justice that you once deserved. You got a movie, you got a book, okay, you got a statue, but that's really messed up. Like, that's truthfully and honestly messed up. But anyway, y'all, close the friend. Thank y'all for listening to the story. Let me know what y'all think about this story, y'all opinions, what y'all think happened as well, that wasn't necessarily said in the story, wasn't necessarily part of the story. Let me know what y'all think happened. But yeah, I love y'all, Pariah babes. Make sure y'all go watch the last video. Make sure y'all look out for the next videos. Go watch my shorts. Yeah, and like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time, Pariah babes.